Satan and God had a contest right in the Bible. I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to show it to you. It's an amazing contest, and you're going to see who the winner is. But first, I want to show you what I do during the week. One of the things I do, I'm still training up children. Only my part in training up the kids is to train them to have fun. Their parents already trained them to be good kids. I just take them out and have a lot of fun. That's a whole lot easier. It's all in this book, To Train Up a Child. It tells you how I raised my kids. I have 5 of them. They're wonderful. I have 27 grandkids. They're outstanding, all of them. And so get this book, Train Up a Child, and read about how to train up your children if you have young children. You might use it to train up your husband if you don't. Okay, let's get into the subject. Satan and God had a contest. Now, the subject is the pure faith in a family man. We open the Bible to Job. One of the prisoners called it Job. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, one that feared God and eschewed evil. What's amazing about this is that the book of Job took place before Moses, before the Bible, before the law, before the established priesthood. Job was a man of the East who understood about God. He was part of a community that understood about God. They worshiped God. They offered sacrifices. Through what they'd been passed down from Adam and Noah, maybe by word of mouth, they had developed a quite sophisticated knowledge of God. If you read the book of Job, you'll be amazed at the wisdom not only from Job, but from 4 other people as well. So this man was perfect and upright and feared God and eschewed evil. Could you say that about Christians? Amazing. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, in a very great household, so that this man was the greatest man of the East. That's a lot of wealth. And a lot of people had 10 sons and daughters, and they were not living with him anymore. There were 10 families, and probably had wives and children of their own. Now, Job was part of a community of believers. He was the greatest man of the East. He offered blood sacrifices to God. In Job's very existence was an embarrassment and a threat to Satan's agenda. Satan hates people who have faith in God. Satan doesn't hate us so much, but he hates the God that made us. He hates him because he sought to overthrow him. He sought to take his place, and he despises the very thought of God. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. So periodically in heaven there's these gatherings of all the angels, fallen and those not fallen, and there they have a parley and discuss matters. And so this was one of those times, and Satan has come with the sons of God and come to have a hearing before God Almighty. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there's none like him in all the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? Now God's bragging about this man Job. It pleases God very much. Satan left in rebellion and took 1/3 of the angels with him. And there are many people on the earth that are godless. This is probably after the flood, so God had already destroyed the human race down to 8 souls, and God is proud of this one man, and so he's bragging to Satan. Have you thought about him? What do you got to say about that? Satan says, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast thou not made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? Satan confesses that God had put a protective barrier around Job. Thou hast blessed the work of his hands. Sounds good to me. and his substance is increased in the land. Put forth now thine hand, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. So here's the contest being set up. Satan has said, people don't love you for who you are. They love you because you give them things. You bless them. As long as you bless them, they'll love you. You put a curse on them, and they'll hate you. So God told Satan, okay, do your best. You can go out and take everything that he owns. Go destroy it if you want to. But don't take his body. So Satan went out, and in one moment's time, he caused at least 4 tragedies to take place throughout the land in different places. He caused a strong storm. He caused severe weather. He caused an enemy to come in and destroy them. He caused all of Job's family to die. Every one of them. Not only that, his cattle were wiped out by the weather conditions. And his sheep were wiped out. The asses. He didn't have any animals left alive. No family, no children. All dead. Just his wife remained. And there was a reason Satan left her. So word came to Job that he'd lost everything. It was all gone. So what did Job do? Job rose, rent his mantle, shaved his head, fell down upon the ground, and worshiped. What? Christians today would say, God, why'd you do this to me? What did I do? Why is this happening to me? Now, Job believed it was God doing it. Who wouldn't? I mean, that's supernatural for all these various occurrences to take place at the same time and wipe out everything. So he believed God did it. But what did he do? He believed that somehow he deserved it, that it had it coming, or that it was part of a great plan that God had. And who was he to speak against God? Who was the clay to speak against the potter? And he said, naked came I out of the mother's womb, naked shall I return thither, and the Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Wow, what faith Job had. In fact, I've got this story in my book of faith, Faith More Than You Think. This is one of the 65 stories. In all of this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Many Christians today sin by charging God foolishly. Then Satan says, when he came back before God, and God welcomed him again, said, well, I guess you see my servant Job. You considered him? He fears God and eschews evil. And Satan says, skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. Put forth now thine hand and touch his bone and his flesh, and he'll curse thee to thy face. Satan was convinced because he pulled this off on a lot of people and it worked. So he expected this of Job as well. And God says, okay, you can inflict his body with pain and suffering. Just don't kill him. So Satan goes out and he infects Job with boils. His skin is covered with boils, head to toe. So what does Job do? Job sits down on a pile of ashes and begins to scrape the pus away with a pottery. And there he lies in that pitiful condition, day in, day out, day and night. People walk by and see him. His friends wonder what kind of sin he committed to end up in such a condition. They begin to lecture him on his wickedness. They come up with all kinds of possible sins he committed. And Job says, no, I didn't. But he still believes God did it. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. That's why Satan left her. She was obviously peeved at his integrity. There had been times when his integrity got in the way of what she wanted. So she said, curse God and die. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What, shall we receive good at the hand of God and not receive evil? All this did not Job sin with his lips. Boy, there's a lot of sin with our lips today when a child dies or there's a tragedy and people say, why did God let this happen? And that is a lack of faith in God. Now, Job's response reveals that there are many professing Christians today who believe God, but do not have faith in him. How many times have we heard Christians respond to a great loss with, I can't understand why God would let this happen. When trying times come and people lose their faith, what they actually lose is just the pretense of faith, the comfort of a life without trials. Satan still hates Christians, and he still wants to destroy us. He's responsible for the pornography. He's destroying family after family, soul after soul. And he's good at it. And he's winning. The church is falling today to immorality, to impurity, immodesty, sexual license. The church has lost its power, lost its influence. The world might be better off without it, with very little exception. So Satan is raging. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. That explains what you see in the news today. The devil knows he's got a short time. The thing he hates almost as much as the church is Israel. And Satan is coming against Israel. but I've read the end of the book. I know how it turns out. This is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith. Now, faith is not yours. It's not your resource. Faith is believing what God says. Job had faith. Not that it was something inside of him. It's not even mentioned that Job had faith. But we see that he had faith. Why? Because he extolled God in his hour of loss and suffering. He still had confidence in God. That's what faith is. It's confidence in God and what he says. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. That's the way Job overcame. He did not love his life unto death. In other words, death wouldn't deter him from faith in God. And his life had no meaning apart from God. So though the body suffered, God was worthy. Job continued to praise God. That's faith. If you want to read 65 stories like that, get this book, Faith More Than You Think, and I expand on that and go into this modern concept of speaking your faith and being positive in your attitude so that you can make things happen. That is totally debunked with biblical evidence all through. So many Christians today, part of the fall, part of what Satan has done, is brought in this faith movement that is not faith at all. It's a substitute. So learn what real faith is. We'll be talking about this more.